Good evening and welcome to the crypto market update. I'm Alan, one of your co-hosts, Alan Wazny, and with me on the line, Mark Magliocco of Crypto 528 DAO. Mark.
Hello. What's going on, Al?
Mark, we've had a major snowstorm. We are in Canadian winter, which not to be confused with crypto winter. For those listeners the two listeners out there, this is the real winter. We're now in a real winter in Canada. The amount of snow we had here, but crypto winter still is upon us, as we know. But we're going to go to the charts later, Mark. I think we had a little excitement on the crypto markets this weekend.
Yeah, lots of activity, man. And
right.
For our two viewers out there, you can see that we've switched up our format this time. So we're using a new software that actually Al is part of. So is it Reactive? Is that the software?
Yeah, so the Reactive is the software,
Yeah.
the Reactive Suite, and the Vizetto out of Toronto. They're a startup out of Toronto. So we're going to get a little shout out to Av Utukuri and his team at the Vizetto. But Mark, you're going to lead us off with it looks like you've teed up the MoneyGram article.
Yeah, that's what we got. So yeah, lots of news this week, man. Also, I just want to say, like, I really enjoy this Reactive, because you got your little picture here and it says your title and stuff. It's very nice. So, but anyway, yeah. So kicking off with the news. This last week.
By the way, Mark, before you start, this is episode number 10. We've hit a good milestone for the Crypto 528 team, and thanks to Crypto 528 DAO and their commitment to the existing for this platform. But anyway, so that's a shout out to
Alan Was.
Yeah, so this is good, but it's fun, Mark. I mean, look, we're seeing more things. The MoneyGram article caught my attention, and I'll tell you why. Before you get into your article, 4 years ago, when I first got into crypto, 2017, 2018, we were in Portugal, and I saw Western Union, and I saw the article, and I posted, because I used to listen to the Bitcoin podcast religiously, and I'm like, I had to take a picture because I couldn't believe in this day and age that, when fintech and Bitcoin, that was 2018, I thought, wow, for sure, MoneyGram's going to go, or Western Union is going to go out of business, but they're still there. So we'll see. We'll go into this article now, and I just want to share that with, because I remember taking that picture and thinking, and I think I tweeted it to the Bitcoin podcast guys. I thought, yeah, this will be done soon. They'll be done, and they're still there.
Yeah, well, it still takes time for adoption, right? I think MoneyGram, and this is the thing. Like, I love seeing these articles and these headlines because what it shows to me, anyway, is like the adoption of when you've got big companies starting to adopt crypto and using it, here they're not using it in the way, like, if they were smart, they would be developing their own crypto and using it for payments, but they're not. They're just allowing users of their MoneyGram app to buy and sell and hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. So they're just allowing people to buy. They're just taking fees off trading, and I'm sure the fees aren't cheap. But if they were smart, they would be using it to actually, for their, like, they would take the technology and be like, hey, we can use this as our payments and like make it way cheaper, way quicker, way faster, instantaneously, and transfer money across the globe over our already existing network. But unfortunately, they didn't see it that way. So, but it's still good that they're allowing people to use their app, like their MoneyGram app worldwide, to buy crypto, right? So to me, it further solidifies this, like, think about the adoption curve, right? Where it's just slow, and then it just goes into this L shape.
Let's think of the MoneyGram. So the MoneyGram, if you're allowed to buy crypto, can you send? Let's say if you had a MoneyGram account. I don't know if that article goes into that much depth, but
no,
if you have
saying buy,
wallet,
sell, and hold, right? So, it doesn't specifically mention that you can send, to each other, right? But I mean, that would be the ideal thing that they could do, right? It would be like that is their business. It's the business of sending money internationally, and here is like the best, they're offering the crypto on their platform, but like, why wouldn't you just invent your own token and allow users to send it worldwide using your token, like for a fraction of the cost? Right, but obviously they've maybe
their token aside, but I mean, if you just had a more alignment so that the buying and selling and movement of crypto from your wallet to your private wallet, your MoneyGram wallet, to another private wallet. I mean, it'd be interesting to get someone on who understood that and who a little deep dive into where MoneyGram's going, because it's one thing to build your own coin and have all that. It's another thing to be able to be affect payments more seamlessly.
Right.
And I remember the Western Union in the past was about 18%. I was in Dubai. I remember using when I got my laptop stolen on the train in Switzerland, and my colleague had sent me money from Western Union to Zurich, and it was 18%. Like it's off the top, Mark. It just chopped.
Ridiculous, right?
I mean, that was 2014, maybe 2013. It was a while, but I don't think their fees are any cheaper than they were back then. But
no, absolutely not, man. And like the crazy thing is, so I used Western Union like a few months ago to send Debbie, one of our other co-founders, some cash,
yeah,
and I was sending it to Jamaica, and man, they like, there's a maximum you can only send $1,000, because otherwise they won't allow you to cash it, like they won't allow you to collect it in Jamaica. And it was like, even on that $1,000, I think I paid like $100 in fees or something
yeah,
ridiculous like that. And I was like, are you serious? So I guess that's probably the reason why they don't want to use crypto, because they know, if you're using Matic
chopping
or
into their
Avalanche or
fees, right?
whatever, yeah, it would be like $1 to send it, right? Like,
But
and
there's no
this is what,
incentive. There's no
yeah,
incentive for them
there
to
isn't
to
for
to
them,
to put the money into their systems, right? Because they have a
right?
target market. Look at here. It says over 200 countries with 300 plus agent offices. So that means
Right.
each country has multiple offices, and
Mm-hmm.
that's MoneyGram. Western Union. So if I'm going to, they're both traded. Western Union and MoneyGram are both traded on Nasdaq. Now, just for the benefit of the two listeners or viewers, um, MoneyGram's traded, the market cap's about $1 billion. But Western Union is 5 times that at $5 billion. So obviously I don't know the exact nuances there, but that would tell me that their size, the global market is probably 5 times bigger, Western Union's. I do know migrant workers from Philippines, from India, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, they use these religiously. So there you go. So Mark, what are you
Mm-hmm.
circling there?
Yes, you can see this is like they're showing you the app, but you can see here it just says buy and sell. There's no like transfer, right? Which is what you would need to do to transfer and send money. So you can buy and you can sell, but it doesn't look like they give you a transfer option, right? Which is pretty funny.
Well, it would seem
Um,
to me it would be just if you could move in, and if you could move in, obviously they would need to be on kind of a platform where you could get the wallet and send that in. So there'd be something to deep dive into, find out a little bit more, Mark, if they do allow cryptos, to wallets, those
mhm.
currencies that they do provide. Do you want to tee up? You have anything further on the MoneyGram?
No, yeah, just really, I love seeing these headlines. That's just to finish it up. But yeah,
Okay,
should we
so
move
the
on to
other
the
one
next article.
yeah, the other one that came to my attention was the J.P. Morgan trade on a public blockchain, which it was, I think, is a a cash trade in Singapore with some of the regulators in Singapore. I don't know if you have the article. Do you want to tee it up, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can tee it up here. Just you want to pause for a second? And I'll just yeah, okay, there you go.
Okay, so you've got the money. You've got the money. The J.P. Morgan. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is kind of huge because if you read the very first, I think one of the first paragraphs there, he literally
Mm-hmm.
talks about trading right there. One of the first,
Yep.
just I'll let you read that, Mark, because it's harder for me to see.
Yeah, so this is pretty amazing. So JP Morgan has used Polygon blockchain to trade tokenized cash deposits, the latest instance of banks moving into DeFi markets. The trade occurred as part of the Monetary Authority of Singapore Project Guardian
Yeah,
pilot first announced in May. The tokenization experiment completed trials of foreign exchange and the trading of government bonds powered by crypto lending protocol Aave or Aave, however you say it, and
that's it. Yeah, that's
decentralized.
Avalanche. That's the Avalanche.
No, no, it's
That's
not Avalanche.
it's not Avalanche.
No, Aave is it's a lending
Okay,
protocol, so it's on most chains. Yeah.
but that's huge. Go back to that very first paragraph because that is huge. Cash
Mm-hmm.
on chain, like so that literally deposits now they can trade the crypto, right? They can literally trade them on the blockchain,
Mm-hmm.
and this is
Yeah, it
pivotal.
was. To me, it was like, and like even Raphael, like one of our other co-founders, when we talked about the things that you can actually list and trade on chain
Yeah,
include bonds, right? And like the bond market's huge. Well, if you're looking at the foreign exchange and the bond market, like those, the
Yeah.
net asset value of those markets is like in the trillions, multi trillions, right? Like, I think Forex does 6.6 trillion trading per day. And like government, like the bond market also is just huge, right? So, bringing those two asset classes to blockchain will be, I mean, that's just a complete game changer, especially if it's a big bank like JP Morgan bringing it to the blockchain, right? But, I think if you read it further into the article, they've kind of like they've got here. Additionally, JP Morgan built on-chain verification credentials to provide compliant access to Aave and other DeFi. So basically, they're like they're setting up their own network, right? So it's kind of like so they forked Aave Arc, a permission version of the popular. So it's permission, it's not permissionless, right? So
Yeah.
the banks, it's basically this allowed the banks to set their own specialized transaction parameters. So they still have control of the network. It's not
Sure.
decentralized, right?
No, but what's
But
important is they're using the technology, which will, first of all, make the trades quicker, probably more
mhm,
affordable. And if you have the cross chain, right, as long as you're having those, you and I talked in the previous how the bridge, there's a huge vulnerability in the bridge, bringing across, going across multiple chains. This will open up the door. This where they're trading like normal DeFi, TradFi trades. If you get that, multiple chains and all that. I mean, there's obviously lots of technical areas to focus on, but this is a good start. I think it's a really good start.
yeah, exactly, right. And I mean, this is just the beginning, and having a big player like JP Morgan, I mean, that's like, in terms of banks by size, like that's one of the biggest in the world, right? Well,
Yeah.
especially the United States at least. Um,
And custody, right? Because they're one of the big custodial of shares, custodial,
mhm.
one of those whatever custody management of shares and stocks, right? So that would move. They'd be a natural in terms of custodial of crypto wallets, but the money that goes along with that as well, right? Or the trades that
Exactly.
go. So okay,
Yeah, so I mean, huge move for the space, right? And I mean, this is the kind of stuff where when people say like, "Oh, crypto's a fad," and like they talk about, "Oh, crypto's gone now, it's crashing cloud." They don't see the big picture, right? They don't see the long-term potential of
yeah,
what's happening,
that's right.
So it's
Well, they're
like
building.
people in
That's
the
they're
90s that said
building,
the internet
right?
was going to be a fad.
That's in Singapore. It's a small fraction of first of all, it's just Singapore. It's probably a small fraction of their forex trades globally, as you've said. It's a huge number, and that's not even.
Hmm.
You were talking about bonds, but there's FX trades as well, like the number of volume of FX trades. I think they talk a little bit in that article about FX, or do they foreign
I
exchange?
didn't see anything. I mean, here they're talking about this is pretty interesting too. The European Investment Bank launched a digital bond issuance on a blockchain platform in April 2021.
Yeah,
So I mean, this is they're testing it out, they're trying it out, and this means that the adoption of it, right? And anyone that says like, "Oh, crypto's gone, it's done," it's not going away. If you start putting bonds and forex on chain when you
yeah,
got 6.6 trillion trading every day, like
yeah.
where is that going? It's not disappearing overnight, So this to me it just solidifies. And again, even like with the previous article, you can just see every crypto market news update that we do, you can see the continued adoption and just growing adoption of crypto, right? And blockchain technology.
Well, I mean, these are headliners. These are obviously headliners. What you don't see is what's happening behind, the private
Exactly.
chains, and that's been going on for three,
Hmm.
4 years with IBM and so forth. So I'll let you tee up the
Yep.
next article, Mark, and we'll just take a pause. So I like this, Mark, because you're able to tee up. We take a little break, but
Hmm.
literally this is the next article is about layoffs and jobs. And so for me, I've looked at crypto jobless for the last couple of years, just as interest. So what's in that space? But the tech layoffs, everyone is well known this past couple of weeks, and even in summertime, we look at Coinbase and others. But recently this week, even Meta and Facebook is announcing massive layoffs. Last week,
Hmm.
Elon Musk, and he took control of Twitter. They released something like 3,700 employees or whatever it was. Apparently they're
Yep.
backtracking that today. But Stripe, the payments portal, the fintech company, they're 14% of their staff. So there's some massive layoffs in the past few weeks that are really getting the headlines. So I wanted to get onto this one and say, wait a minute, there's some pretty sizable hirings going on in crypto jobs, and
Hmm.
it's ongoing. And there's not major names in this list, but I'll let you scroll through. just to give you, when I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute, but the crypto
Well, they got
people are
here, they
hiring.
got Ethereum, OKX, Certic, right? Trusted by the world's leading blockchain companies. Okay.
Yeah, that's crypto job.
Uh,
I get the newsletter, crypto
yeah.
job. It's a weekly thing that comes out,
Mm-hmm.
and you just see a lot of. You can scroll through, Mark, but to me, it's just it's kind of counter. A couple weeks ago, I think a couple of podcast episodes, we talked about, the shifting of, I don't know as you said, but it was the Bloomberg crypto covered it when they're saying, oh, TradFi now hiring all those blockchain people that are getting laid off. But
Mm-hmm.
these are builders. In that list, Mark, if you scroll down, you'll see there's a lot of builders in there that are just not good. They're not mainstream. They're just building.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies, but I mean, it's just showing you that, well, I guess all the funding that has been going into the market, right? Because look at all these, these are all just random, like, well, Halburn's, it's a security company, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're looking at like, look at all these companies. I mean, Sear Network, like they've all gotten funding. That's how they're hiring people, right? So Delta Labs, FS Labs, I don't even know what half these companies are, but
No.
they've all got funding. DAF Radar, oh, cool. That's interesting.
So
Yeah, very
when I
cool.
saw the headline of that, I saw roughly that says 3,100 plus cryptocurrency Web3 blockchain jobs. That's kind of general because
Mm-hmm.
there are marketing jobs, social media managers, and there's 316 active jobs. So if those are mean in the last couple of weeks, because they get stale dated. Some of those jobs get stale dated. So the headline says 3,100 plus jobs. But
Mm-hmm.
if you look, and I even saw it, like what caught my attention was the community managers. And some of those people, they just
Yeah.
want real social media people, right?
It's a lot of marketing, like marketing,
Yeah.
social
Yeah.
media,
Yeah.
hands-on marketing lead, community manager, right? And I mean that's kind of what we're looking for right now as well, is someone to help build your community, right? And
Yeah.
it's just there's a lot of projects competing for community. It's one thing. So you kind of need to really get something unique out there in terms of your development and your reach, right? But yeah, very cool. I mean, just a look, there's a lot of jobs on there, right? And a lot of applications. So it just shows you all the interest in
Well,
crypto as
one of
well,
these
right?
episodes, Mark, one of these episodes, we're just going to focus on some of the new funding. You and I, we batter offline with some of this. I show you the wow, right? There was a couple in
The
Singapore live,
fundraising.
so we're going to focus on that. But the point I
Hmm.
want to make is like when they do hire, when they do raise, any companies in general, they two things they usually hire. They hire developers for their web development or research engineers, and the other side is marketing people to help them build the business. So those are the two main jobs around hiring. But in VC side, or sorry, on the crypto side, when they get venture capital funding or seed, whatever it is, they go after the same, but they go for blockchain people or people with marketing people with a blockchain experience or community. So it's yeah, I think this is something that's not, you don't see these headlines. You do not see crypto jobs in the headlines, right? Because they don't. It's boring. It's same old, right?
Hmm.
All right, Mark, we're back and a little
We're
technical
back.
difficulties, but so you've teed up. I see you've teed up the next article. So the Mastercard.
Yep.
I'll give the head. I'll just. I mean, crypto fintech. They've created a crypto fintech accelerator. So it's pretty cool.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we didn't really go into like we were talking about offline, like, the startup company names. I mean, they're startups, they're in incubation stage,
Yeah.
right? So we don't really know too familiar with them. But one thing that we did want to highlight was, where do we find that here? So since 2014, interesting, like they launched in 2014. So that was the beginning of crypto, really. Like if you think about it, I mean, that's like when Ethereum came around. They said that, this MasterCard Start Path is a 6-month accelerator program designed to help startups in expanding the commercialization of their products. Supported more than 350 startups so far, which
Yeah,
that's
but
pretty
that's not
amazing.
necessarily crypto back then.
No, but
I
you
think
say
it
in
was more in the fintech
2021,
space. Yeah. Okay.
right, they launched a dedicated crypto division of it, right? So that's
Right.
Start Path Crypto. That's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like that means that they're specifically focusing on blockchain development, right? So again, like just really shows the further adoption of of the space, right? So
Well, and like just like what you said there, Bain and Co., which is Bain and Company, the big Bain Capital, Bain, their big investment out of New York, but literally I
mhm,
think they've got it now division, the crypto division for trading. And so what you're just showing me there, MasterCard's a blue chip name. I'm surprised
Yep.
Visa's not in that space. Maybe Visa has
Yeah.
something similar, but MasterCard seems to be an early mover in there. So, and they're
Hmm.
so what are some of the salient points that you've said? So they've since 2014 they've helped incubate 350 companies,
50 startups,
but then
many
they
of them being unicorns, achieving
yeah.
unicorn status.
But you mentioned, and when we talked offline, some of their companies include in India. I think there was a couple of names in there.
Yeah, Zeta and Razorpay.
So Razorpay, a couple of years ago, I came across. I was working with a company out of Mumbai,
Hmm.
and I teed them up. But they're payments, they're fintech, traditional fintech, but they became unicorn. I think 2 years ago, even definitely a little more than a year ago. So yeah, I mean, India is a massive market. I'm
Hmm.
sure they could have multiple people in fintech, but so that's pretty cool. I didn't realize Mastercard was part of Razorpay.
Yeah, same. I mean, it just again just solidifies the adoption of blockchain and the technology, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
good news. Should we queue up the next article?
So the next article, I will, this is, I think it's more an extension of the Mastercard. So the two things came up almost in different articles, but let me just pause it here and while you tee it up, because
Hmm.
just to give you some.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So the next article, Mark, the next article does talk about again Mastercard, but this is one you found, I think,
Hmm.
from the Watcher Guru.
Yeah, so MasterCard supporting in-cell crypto for fiat features. So it's actually just being backed by Binance, right? So you can actually sell crypto for fiat. And I mean, this to me, right? So it says, here, the Binance announced its support for MasterCard credit and debit cards in the UK and EEA, so Europe, for the sell crypto for fiat feature. And I mean, this is like what's really, oh, sorry, what the space has been missing, in my opinion, is the ability, oh, geez, is the ability to actually, easily convert cryptocurrency for cash, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, after completing their account verification. Because I mean, when you can start using crypto to, like we were talking about, I can't remember if it was you that was talking about, but having an actual debit card that you can use and you can use your crypto, like let's say, if you, as long as it's not staked or anything, if it's just sitting in your wallet, like if you
Yeah.
got USDC, and you should be able to pay, if you got USDC in your account, you should be able to use your debit card and just be able to pay USDC, right? It just converts to cash. So
Convert to fiat. Yeah.
um
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is pretty cool. I think this is the beginning of what we're gonna
But
see, right? So you
back
can
to
see,
the MoneyGram, right? Back to
yeah.
the MoneyGram. If the worker has the opportunity to remit funds home back to Philippines or India or wherever, right?
Hmm.
That's a big. I mean, that's a big, huge market. I remember reading, going back to that MoneyGram a little bit, Western Union. I remember reading a few years ago, Mark, that the GDP of remittances was, or something like the amount of people abroad that were sending money was greater than their GDP. I don't know if it was Philippines or it was one of those countries, right? Where
Oh yeah, it's
the amount of
like
money
Jamaica,
being,
Philippines, those are like India,
where the workers that are
staples.
living abroad and they're sending money back, the number was just massive, right? So it's a massive
Hmm.
market. Anyway, okay, so that's pretty
Yeah,
cool. So that's another adoption, back to adoption, right?
yeah,
Mainstream
exactly. I
uses.
mean, this whole
Eventually,
podcast has been about adoption pretty much so far, right? So, and I think it's going to continue with our next article. I'll just cue that one up.
see how quickly you can cue this up and we can keep the recording going. But so I
Yep.
wanted to just, while you're teeing that up, I want to just go back to
Sure.
when I was living in Dubai. There was an article, I don't know if it was MasterCard, it was a MasterCard Money Center of Excellence. So the article I heard, it was a podcast or something they were talking about where the cash that the people would get. So the migrant workers would get cash, they would tape it to their bodies for the week. They'd
Hmm.
get paid on Monday, but they couldn't go to the Instagram or MoneyGram until the end of the week. Say Friday was the holiday, right? So they would tape
Hmm.
it to their bodies because there was no safe place to leave the cash. And then they would go to Western Union, transfer the money, right? And spend that 18% or whatever it was. So the MasterCard recognized that. So they got some kind of debit card, payment card. They brought in like thousands of workers to just bring it away from the cash. So there was a card, which they could then go, they could use that card and remit the funds that way as a debit card. But this stuff is just huge. It's a huge market, the cash, that
Hmm.
cash element where these poor workers, right? They come and, I don't mean, I'm not going to belabor this point, but to really unbank the unbanked or to bank the unbanked, that's where you have to hit those remittances to the workers that are the volumes, the billions that are sent, daily across overseas. Okay, so
Yeah, exactly.
Mark's got a new article again. Google Cloud. This is a little bit different than the previous two articles.
Yeah, I mean, still kind of sticking with the adoption theme, right? So, I mean, this is pretty cool. Like, basically, Google is embracing Solana black blockchain.
Blockchain.
Yeah, Solana blockchain. By becoming a validator on the chain, that means that they're validating transactions that are on it, and this is from Google Cloud, right? So, this kind of really solidifies again the adoption of crypto and blockchain, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, it's
But
just
this is they're a validator, right? So that's
yeah,
huge because that right, it's sort of that means I think you have to hold crypto. You have to hold the
yeah,
crypto to be a validator. You just can't
right.
be a third party validator. You have to hold. Google Cloud must be holding the Solana crypto. I
Yeah,
understand. Maybe
I'm not exactly sure the requirements of being a validator on Solana, but definitely they would need to be there need to be some kind of
holding.
staked asset
Yeah,
amount on the chain, right? So yeah, they definitely I mean I think it's just the fact that Google is embracing our blockchain. I mean, even though it's Solana, it's just to me still it's like it's amazing to see that you've got when you've got someone with the power and the
yeah,
reach, and I'm
yeah.
not just talking about the pockets, like how wealthy Google as a company is, but also their reach and their power, like the lobby groups that they have. They
Sure.
have the ability to influence legislation, really. Like these big tech companies do. So, I mean, it just to me, just really this kind of stuff. When you see this, and in our previous podcast, when we talked about, like remember all we listed like the 100 different top blockchain investments
Yes.
or whatever,
Yeah.
right? We had BlackRock with some of them, and you see J.P. Morgan in the space. Like when you see these big players starting to embrace it and become active in the space, that's when you know like this is the beginning of the adoption of that, that L-shaped curve, right?
That's
So,
right. That's right.
um, yeah, I mean, to me, it's like anyone that isn't involved in crypto right now, like this should be like the flashing lights, like whoa, Google is getting involved in crypto, J.P. Morgan's getting involved in crypto, BlackRock, like all these companies are getting involved. Like I should be learning, at least having the desire to know and understand more about it, right? Regardless if you want to get involved or invested or not, but I think a lot of like the average person just doesn't really realize the extent and the potential that the technology has, right?
Well, and this
So.
speaks to a lot of the education side. In a lot of these
Mhm.
articles, when you drill down or you look at some of these articles, there's a link to want to know more about crypto, want to know, educate in the space. And one of the things I noticed on the crypto, the MasterCard, I'm pretty sure there's a link to, learning more about crypto, learning the education. Education seems to be a big piece. And some of the, you and I talked offline, and some of the startups that are raising funds, a lot of them on their websites have an education piece or a link to something
Mhm.
on educating in the space. Okay, Mark, we're back. Some more technical Wi-Fi. Maybe the storm, the Canadian winter storm, has affected our Wi-Fi here. But I want to just go
Mhm.
into, before you go into the market. I know you want to share. You've probably got your screen sharing on
Mhm.
the charts, but I just want to talk about over the weekend. Obviously, people will see that Bitcoin had rallied, Ethereum had rallied, but something I saw, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, was that the gaming related coins appeared to rally roughly 15%. And so just a couple few that I picked up was the Sandbox. They
Mhm.
were at number 44 on FTX's, the money, whatever the market cap. So they were number 44. Their symbol is sand, and most people know them as they kind of this, they kind of host their gaming company, but I think they're also selling territory or land in Web3. Their equivalent in fiat is 85 cents. Decentraland, which is similar to the Sandbox, uh, number 46. They're literally Sandbox and Decentraland are sort of same market cap. Their
Mhm.
Decentraland is Mana, M-A-N-A. They're at 67 cents per coin. And then Axie
Wow.
Infinity is a gaming company out of Asia. They're number 52, so really close to Sand and Decentraland. Their
Mhm.
symbol is AXS for $9.99. So I don't know. I forgot to write down the actual market value, but they're pretty high up. I mean, it takes 20,000 coins. They're listed number 52. And then Gala Games, I don't know them. They're number 127, and Gala, Gala. And then that just, while I was looking, I came across a little company called Celsius. So so go back. All those coins that I saw, or those, they were all roughly 15% on Saturday. I couldn't find any other news about why they went up and versus, the regular Bitcoin and Ethereum. Then I wanted to point out, before you go into the charts, I'll give you this last one, Celsius. On a side note, I saw them bankrupt Celsius. Ironically, they're still with a market cap of 222 million, which is ranked 132nd overall on FTX. So their coin still trades. I don't know how liquid it is, but there's still some value in that company. Okay.
Well, I know they're being like, the liquidators are like liquidating its assets, right? Because there's a lot of lenders that were trying to recover some assets from it. But it's interesting. So, man, I was following these GameFi tokens for quite a while because, as our original product, we plan to build like a cryptocurrency of 100 different cryptos. But
yes.
So when you said 67 cents, I haven't checked them in a while. I mean, look at the high of Decentraland, like Mana. It's, the high back in November of, it's almost a year ago. Well, a year ago, yeah, exactly. It was $5.90.
Wow.
And now it's down to, yeah, that's crazy, man. And Axie is another one. Let's see, Axie to USD. Because that one was like, I think it was at like $100 at one point, I'm pretty sure.
Wow. It's at $10
Yeah,
now.
look, $165.
Wow.
Holy man. And now
Wow.
it's at $10. Wow. That sucks for whoever bought it. It's at $165, man. But yeah.
A slight little blip up compared to the overall all-time high, ATH. I don't, look, there's crypto's down as a whole. Crypto winter is, I mean, it's 50, 60, 70% down. A lot of the coins from those, they're down 90%. There's a big drop in the value. So
check out Sandbox. I think Sandbox is like $5 too. Yeah, like $8. Wow. Yeah, now it's 84 cents. But I mean, it's like you said, if you consider Bitcoin, Ethereum, like the big networks as kind of the blue chips in crypto. I mean, from the high, like what Bitcoin lost, it's at a third of its all-time high value, right? At 20,000. But you look at these ones and it's like, they're at like
they really got chopped.
1/10. Yeah. Because these are like the small mid-cap kind of cryptos. Well, I mean, they weren't even small caps, but compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum, definitely. But yeah, very interesting, man. I haven't checked those the prices on those in a while. I was kind of surprised when you said 67 cents. I was like, wow. But back to good old Bitcoin, good old BTC. And then we're sorry, I'm just gonna move the chart here a little bit so I can still getting used to this the Vizetto thing here.
So we are using the reactive suite by Vizetto and Av Utakuri out of Toronto. He's working with the backers network, but this is it's in work. So it's in kind of beta stage, but allowing you to see the charts and to see Mark at the same time.
Yeah, see the smug.
It's much more. I like the visuals on this are much better for me. So I got to imagine the two viewers, when they're watching this as well, will be able to see that. And when you post this up onto YouTube or wherever you post wherever you get your Crypto 528 updates.
Up on the tube. Yeah, I mean, like this, the narrative for Bitcoin, like I said, man, it's just been, it's funny. I think, was it the other week that we posted an article saying, Bitcoin Bitcoin was less volatile than the S&P, in the past couple months, right?
The VIX on it, the volatility index.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, but that's what it's been doing. Like, we call this funny at the beginning of this podcast, when we first started it back in like August or whatever it was, what did we say? It's going to trade sideways between the ranges of 19,000 or 18,000 and 22,000. And that's just what it's done, right? And like I said, it's just been waiting to catch this, moving average here. You can see the 9-day moving average that's currently at 25,000. You can see there. That's the yellow one, right? So the 9-day currently is at 25,000, and it had just been, because it sold off so hard back in was this April, right?
Yeah.
So it's just been waiting to catch these moving averages, and then, I mean, as much as I would like to say that it's going to go up, and you never know, like the markets are always a crapshoot sometimes, right? But like in my I guess my opinion. Again, this is not trading advice. This is just my personal opinions of crypto 528. And but the most likely scenarios we're going to see a continued sell down. Like I don't think the crypto winter's over. Hopefully, optimistically, I want to hope that it's over and that the tricky thing is that as inflation continues to go like at the rate that it's at, um, you know, that's the thing. If you look at all these countries that have hyperinflation, like
Yeah.
Venezuela, you got Russia, you got, there's a few different, Turkey, these different countries that are just the dollar has been decimated. Their dollar has been decimated. They're all using, Lebanon was recently another one that I had read, where their dollar's just been decimated because of inflation. They're all turned to Bitcoin and crypto, and they're paying, for goods and services with crypto, right? So a US dollar coin, they're using USDT, they're using Bitcoin because it's more stable than their own currency. So I think if that, if we ever saw this, transition from the US dollar where people kind of started questioning or, losing faith in the dollar, the stability of the US dollar, I think we could see a transition into cryptocurrency. And that would be when, Bitcoin would really start taking off, right?
Well, because there's
Um,
limited supply of Bitcoin relative to
Exactly. I mean,
other.
it's inflation proof, right? You can't make more of it. So, really, I think we could see that transition
I'm gonna
happen at
pause
some
here for a
point.
second, Mark, as the dog finishes her barking. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so the dog barking didn't
yeah, you can't hear it.
but it's interesting, Mark. So the Bitcoin, there was a two this week, the Bloomberg crypto podcast. One was how to trade an unusually boring Bitcoin. And she referred to back in,
Option.
sorry?
Well, if you're asking how to trade an unusually boring Bitcoin, well, you'd have to do like you could use some
No,
pretty
well, okay, no,
good
I'm
option
saying
strategies on that.
no, but she was no, but she's just saying like, okay, there might be options, but she said comparing it to 16, 17, when the foreign currency markets were pretty low, it's it is to be creative. It's hard, and people are, you're probably right, finding the day trades and the hourly trades or whatever. But it was just incredible. That was the one article, and then of
Hmm.
course the next one that we tried to tee up here was what's wrong with NFTs, what went
Right.
wrong with NFTs in that market. So you don't need to go to that, Mark, but we'll share in the episode notes. But those were two podcasts this week that came up. But it's just an interesting, like people like it's boring. It is boring, right? Because when
Hmm.
this crypto winter, it doesn't make for good trades. The excitement where it goes up and down, and you kind of lose and then you gain. And so anyway, I'll stop there. But you might have some thoughts on that. But it's just like that's people are finding Bitcoin boring.
So this, I mean, it's called the Iron Condor option strategy. So you can trade options, and basically you put a series of longs and puts,
Yeah,
sorry, like longs and calls, and as long as the price of the underlying asset expires between the ranges, so like you
yeah,
could have set this strategy at the ranges of like 18,000 and 22,000, and as long as your contracts expire within that price range, you're making money. And I mean, it's not like it's not like naked calls or naked puts where you're making like a crazy amount of money, but you're just making money off writing options. Like if you're writing options around that range, but
but can
yeah,
you
so
write a
that's
bit? But that's, I mean,
this is a strategy that would work
yeah,
that would have worked for the past few months,
what
definitely.
does but can you trade a Bitcoin options? I mean, are there
Yeah,
contracts?
absolutely.
Are there
Yeah, you
ETF
can. There's
contracts on?
yeah, you can
Okay,
trade them off Binance, I'm pretty sure.
okay,
But there's also other derivative sites that you can trade option
okay,
contracts for
okay.
Bitcoin. I mean, they've got most of the major cryptos, right? Like Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think they have like Litecoin, Cardano,
Litecoin,
whatever those kind of
yeah.
ones, Solana. But yeah,
Oh, that's
um,
cool. Okay, so I mean, there are for the more sophisticated traders, the individual trader like myself who's just going to look at Bitcoin price and trade on my Binance account or whatever that. But you're talking about those are sophisticated. Those are the real going from the traditional TradFi, right? TradFi trading.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, I think we're gonna see a pretty crazy November. I think we're in for, whether, yeah, I think it's gonna be another month of volatility. So, strap in and we'll just see where it goes.
Well, Mark, thanks for that. Is there any last words from the crypto 528 DAO team?
No, well, I mean, we're going into our NFT launch next week, so stay tuned for that. We should, definitely do. We'll feature that on the next market update next week, and we could even do a tour of the NFT marketplace next week, hopefully. So for any
I'd
viewers
also
that
like to
are
share,
interested.
just for the few listeners out there, that just share some of the, the findings we're finding, the last 6 months, the investments in the builders. You mentioned earlier the MasterCard, some of the
Hmm.
incubator. I'm seeing on the flip side, the venture capital side, a lot of money being raised for some pretty cool projects. So I think we're gonna spend either one of the next two episodes talk about your launch, and we'll talk about some of the investments that build the real biddlers or the real builders in the space. So
Yeah, we should do that. Maybe combine those both next week, and we could just quickly cover the launch, and then we can go into venture capital funding. Kind of like goes together, right? So
Mark, thanks for taking the time to use the Vizetto or the Reactive Suite, and you wonderful. I think you did a terrific job. Made it
yeah,
more
it was great, man.
less
Thanks for
boring than
suggesting it.
trading, less boring than trading Bitcoin.
Yeah, unless you're using some crazy option strategies. But yeah, thanks, all. Always a pleasure, and I'll talk to you next time, man.
All right, Mark, have a good night. Cheers, brother.
All right, buddy. Bye.